Alrighty folks, so this is basically the last video just to kind of recap all the aspects of the Erisin 777A deck slash pad unit. In all honesty, just to kind of go over each of these options real quick, between the radio being fairly nice and straightforward, the DVD being a very nice DVD player, you have all those options in the equalizers to change your brightness and stuff like that on the video front. Your audio front, you can change your left and right balance, your front and back fade, etc., etc. I mean, DVD option gives, I have a big thumbs up for that. For the USB SD, didn't really play with that option on video. No real need, because there are a couple other videos on the net that really show it. Nothing special, just it reads your discs and it reads your thumb drives, etc. The only thing that really is not the greatest if you're reading information from a thumb drive is the way that the directories are showing on screen. Not the most intuitive, but you just simply deal with it. I wouldn't suggest using it if you don't have to. The TV option, didn't buy the additional DVB MPEG tuner for high def over the air. Personally, I don't see myself ever buying it, so if somebody does, feel free to make a video and post a link to it here if you could. The iPod option, I don't have an iPod nor an iPhone. There is a cable that comes with it, so you can easily plug it in, and you'll be able to run it off of that. The Bluetooth functionality I've already discussed, very, very solid. Both dialing the phone number, dialing the phone numbers, making calls, receiving calls, running A2DP profile to run from my phone directly to it for music. Perfect. Nothing wrong with that at all. The pad option, of course, where the bread and the butter of this deck really comes in, works really well. The GPS functionality links in directly to the pad through the deck. Everything runs really, really nicely. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen from the pad would have been something a little lighter, would have been nice. Outside of that, a stronger CPU, or hopefully the possibility of custom firmware on the pad. Because with the possibility of custom firmware, you have the option of getting an overclocked CPU or overclocking the CPU to push more power to it. Which to me at 1 gig, it's a 1 gig single core. Decent for an entry model, but at this point, again, since most superphones are dual core, and I think some are coming out with the SGS3 as quad core, this is falling a little behind. But again, for a pad, which is for the car specifically, great, it works well, it works intuitively, I have no complaints. And of course your auxiliary, which links up into your rear view camera, if you have it installed, or it goes into another device of some sort. In all honesty, didn't have either plugged in, not intending to, but for anybody who does, I'm sure it works well. Have not gone anywhere to test it, nor have I seen anybody else who's tested it, but if you do, feel free to post a link down below or something of that nature. So overall, each of the options here are pretty solid for this deck. For a $300 deck, for the stuff that you get in the deck itself, not too pretty, but functional, good sound, quality build, and for the other aspect of the pad coming with it for that same $300, you can't go wrong. In reality, if you wanted something which is custom made and which suits the needs of the person who's trying to put a nice gadget into their car or a nice tech toy into their car, this is it. For somebody who's looking to replace, I think it's called MySync from Ford, or some of the other manufacturers like Hyundai or GM or any of those type of front-end, I should say devices, if you will, or front-end stereo devices in the car. It's not going to replace those, but it pretty much gives a good run for its money, and then some in other aspects. It's not for the everyday person, but with a little bit of understanding of where things are, and of course a little bit of understanding of Android, if you already have an Android phone, you'll enjoy this deck. If there's any other kind of questions or something that a viewer would like me to review that I didn't cover here or that I didn't cover in the other videos, let me know. But ultimately, if I had to rate this device out of 10, chances are I would give it easily an 8 or an 8.5, considering that I am the type of individual who understands very clearly how to manipulate these devices. So if I wasn't somebody who doesn't, or if I am somebody who doesn't know how to manipulate these devices, I would definitely tell you that this would be about a 7, maybe a 7.5 at best. So you still could buy it, but just take a little bit of time to get to get to know the device itself, and of course get a little bit of an understanding of how an Android would work, or the Android software works, before you decide to buy it. So thank you very much for watching all of these review videos. Like I said, if any more questions, feel free to post below. Cheers.